Hello everyone. Until I can actually save up and give me a face cam, this will have to do. Anyway, I am not editing this either because I still need to get all my storage business done real quickly. So, at the very moment, you'll just have to hear me and the background noise from here on out for a little while. Anyway, I do have some questions. One, why is everyone very upset with Riot? Two, why does everyone expect Riot to balance it for everyone when, in all honesty, they're trying to make it fair, though it isn't fair most of the time in League of Legends? Number three, how come Riot is keeping some things that they want to give us a secret? I understand business wise as well as all the other stuff, but I would also love to have a good reason as to why they're releasing a champion that is compared to Camille from what Red Mercy showed. And why are they trying to encourage people to continue to play Tristana and Lucian mid, when in all honesty, this champion is supposed to be the replacement for both of them mid, so that they can go back to playing bottom side or top side. Sadly, Lucian in his position is basically at an odds end, where he's playing in three different roles, while Tristana's playing in two roles. Or if possible, she could probably play it in jungle. It's just you have to be good at kiting the camps, which Riot has fixed that. They've made it to where you don't really need to kite anymore, even if you're a ranged jungler, like Graves or Kindred. Well, of course, Graves would be able to actually kite the jungle because he knocks back those enemies with his buckshots. But I digress. That's one question. I think I'm on the fifth one after that little tangent. Anyway, the fifth one. Why would anyone think Riot isn't thinking of them? From what I've seen, Riot does care about you guys. It's just marketing wise, they're trying to meet in the middle. And sometimes meeting in the middle will always bring people down, stabbing people in their toes, probably stabbing them in the back on what they promised. For example, they promised that rotating game modes would probably come back at some point into the future. Hence, we have TFT, which is apparently the rotating game mode's killer. I really would like to know this. Why is everyone so upset at the fact that Riot had to get rid of rotating game modes, not only due to the fact that they weren't playing normal Summoner's Rift, but because most of the professionals were like they need to make this a permanent game mode. To that, I would like to say they would probably have to actually dedicate like several servers to make it a permanent game mode, which I think they were trying to avoid that, because if they were actually trying to do that, then what they had in plan during the 10th anniversary or during TFT's beta, they were trying to make TFT not only a rotating game mode, but also a permanent game mode. They did that successfully and made millions off of that. Now, what would happen if they actually kept some of their game modes? For that, I would have to say you can go watch Exile's video, which inspired me to actually do this one, though it is very low quality, sadly. But in the very end, this is just me voicing what I feel after a couple of years without having rotating game modes in my life. For me, from my experience from game modes, I've played Dominion. I've played a permanent game mode called Twisted Tree Line, which no longer exists, though I didn't play enough to get a icon to prove that I did play it. But in the end, I did play Twisted Tree Line, and I did play Dominion. After I learned about the story about Dominion, I learned that where it was based off of was technically Skarner's home, not where Zarth would be kept there with Renekton. So, with that being said, I do think if they actually were to bring back rotating game modes, that would be amazing, but that would also lead them nowhere else, because they gave what the community wanted for so long. Rotating game modes is back. But in all honesty, the community gave up on Riot a long time ago. Like as soon as they got rid of rotating game modes after the Odyssey event, all of them just straight up dropped like flies when the Odyssey event left and Riot announced that they would never bring rotating game modes back. So, with that being said, I think Riot's kind of too late on trying to bring rotating game modes, so that's why they're not probably bringing rotating game modes back. Instead, they left TFT in its place. So, Exile is absolutely right about Riot, like not releasing like the game modes anymore, because the fact that the community wants them back, but also the fact that Riot has this like expectation from the community to always mess it up. For example, Earth. Every time they try and bring Earth back, they either mess something up or something has trickled into Summoner's Rift, like normal Summoner's Rift. And lately, everyone is very upset at the fact that we'll basically be getting a ranged Camille. We have a we have a mobile we have Samara, basically AD Katarina that you actually need to show skill. Sadly, the only reason why she isn't a champion that shows skill is because her W is one of the few things that can that's basically a roaming Yasuo wind wall, and it's around only you. So not only can you block projectiles, but you can also block. Well, you can't block point and click like Malzahar. You can't block a volley bearer like lightning. You can't do that. But any projectile, it gets in. It's kind of like how in Overwatch you have Diva's Matrix, where in the beginning Diva could basically hold that Matrix up for as long as she wants, and it was on a low cooldown too. So you wouldn't get punished if you mispressed it or not. You'd basically get more out of it if you ate like all of their damage. Lately, well, what they did with Diva's like defense matrix, clear my voice. What they did with Diva's matrix was that they basically made it to where you can use it, yes, but if you use too much of it, it'll go away. It'll be on its normal cooldown. It's just that you have to wait for it to like get more energy back. Kind of like how they nerfed Akali. They gutted Akali once. They nerfed her. They buffed her again. They nerfed her again, and her energy pool has been the same, except they got rid of the lifesteal that she gains whenever she uses her Q 3 times in a row. So they did that. That's 1 point for Riot for doing something the community wanted. Nerfed Akali, but it was too late. So even if they did something for the community, they would still get the backlash from the community themselves. So it's kind of a lose lose in the Riot's like ballpark, and it's more of a win win lose for the community. You get what you want, you get to play the game. In return, you keep the same kind of expectations. And my best friend made this very clear to me while we were talking to each other playing League. I'm not going to try and be mean to him or anything or say anything bad about it. It's just that his view on League is that League is horrible in this state, and them trying to release two champions one after each other, trying to progress Viego's story as well as eventually releasing Isolde, which is Viego's wife for those who aren't lore nerds. That event will happen near the end of the year into 2022. But what Riot's doing at this very moment, while MSI is going on, while they're playing on last patch, next patch, I want to say Ryze will be picked more mid lane or top lane in Worlds. Like, I guarantee you, they're gonna buff Orianna. They're buffing Ryze, which is questionable in its own right, because one, at the moment, I got this from like Mark Yeater, then August reposted it, and I'm like, wait, Ryze is getting a buff. That is something that needs to be put into question. Why is Ryze getting a buff? If they buff Ryze, he's broken, and he'll be seen in pro play a lot. If he's nerfed, then he's horrible in both casual and competitive. But for me, I'm just knocking on wood, hoping to God that they don't buff Ryze too much, whether it's his Q or it's his ultimate. If it's his ultimate and it's just the passive for it, where you get more like mana regen or something like that, I'm fine because Rise's abilities are low costing. And I love Rise. Rise is fun. They nerfed Phase Rush by increasing the cooldown it is after proccing it, which doesn't really hit hard on all the champions that use it. Both Vladimir, Jace, Sed, and I want to say Victor, Oriana, and Rise. Because in the very end, it's Phase Rush. You are resistant to slows. For a certain amount of time, Phase Rush is up. And finally, uh, right about the whole toxicity in the community. My best friend made this very, very clear that if Riot really cares about the community, they need to be focusing on banning the right people or take responsibility for allowing these people to play the games and basically punishing them with either permanently banning them from playing in ranked or temporarily banning them from playing normals or ARAMs or TFTs until the stuff is either checked out or they should probably add a recording feature for them to go through games after they make a report. I'd say that would be about a million times helpful. But in the very end, like I said earlier, the community will always give Riot a backlash. In the very end, it's a lose-lose in Riot's favor because the community has already developed this love-hate relationship to League as well as to Riot Games itself. And also, mainly towards their balancing team. The balancing team is one of the most hated teams in the at Riot. Not the Riot employees though. No. The Riot employees themselves don't deserve this hate, but the balance team together should probably try and ask people in low elo what they think about their new champions and stuff like that. I understand that they have a way for the siding on these new champions, but I think that it's better that they don't leave the middleman out of all this stuff. Because in the very end, I am part of the casuals. I'm trying to not play ranked as much anymore. And the fact that Riot is not only trying to focus on balancing the game, like Exile said in one of his videos, which you should probably go watch, honestly. Actually, you should go watch. His videos is top quality, and how he was able to make 8K, raw 8K, high definition, League of Legends content for that one video recently is absolutely amazing. So I'm going to leave a link down below of this video for you to go and subscribe to Exile, because I do not deserve these subscriptions. This is my opinion and my own opinion only. I'm trying to not think with my emotions or my temporary anger. I'm not. I'm just saying that Riot Games does care about us, but they're also trying to think of everyone else too that doesn't play League that much. That's probably one of the reasons why they had to nerf jungle so much. They had to nerf jungle so much because most new people were told to go play jungle, because apparently jungle is one of the most easiest roles now. And I've seen it. It is. Honestly. For me, Riot, you really kind of screwed up there in making jungle easy for people. 1 second. But in the very end, Riot Games is Riot Games, and I can't really judge them for like trying to cater to a wide a small variety of players. So because those small variety of players are either content creators or community leaders that represent all of League. Some of them are toxic, Some of them should get banned. Some of them are doing fine, and some just don't play the game at all because they'll just focus on one part of League that they love to talk about or do. And to that, I say that they shouldn't be lumped up with the toxicity that is our community. From what I've seen and what I can remember and recall, the League of Legends community is by far one of the most toxic communities in the world, next to Overwatch, Dota 2, and WoW. And then above League of Legends, for some odd reason, is the My Hero Academia community, where they actually sent death notes to, like, they actually send physical death threats to the creators for My Hero Academia because they didn't like a scene in My Hero Academia. If I actually had a sponsor from Crunchyroll, I'd say go watch Jujutsu Kaisen, because Jujutsu Kaisen is actually Bob. It's actually amazing. I've been addicted to that. That and also a bunch of classic animes like Inuyasha. I'm watching all of the old Naruto anime. I'm just watching season 1 of Naruto, and well, season 1, season 2, and season 3. But I'm not going to be watching like Shippuden because I've actually lived through watching Shippuden, and I didn't get to watch that much of Naruto because growing up I couldn't watch Adult Swim. So coming back from my ramble, Riot Games can't really redeem themselves sadly because the community has already built a like facade for Riot where the balance team is horrible and they're high or something. In all honesty, some of these people probably don't really mean to ruin the game for other people. They're probably just doing their jobs, like doing what they're told, but some probably just don't like the game itself, too. And I'm not going to try and throw any shade towards the community because I'm probably going to get death threats myself, too. And I'm not afraid of them because I just have like a sharp stick in my room waiting for the day that happens. And like a very bludgeon guitar too. But like it would help a lot if not only the community but also Riot would try and work together or try and find a middle ground. Because in the end, Riot will still lose because the community isn't happy. The community a whole basically sees themselves as Legion, where they're one entity that that basically decides on what would happen to Riot if they mess up something. Like, if I remember correctly, last year they buffed Oriana right before Worlds. LS predicted that Oriana would get picked a bunch in Worlds, and he isn't wrong. It's just that in the end, LS was wasn't wrong. It's just that we ended up hating LS out of nowhere, and I don't know what happened with that, but apparently the community just straight up hated LS's existence. I mean, Ellis probably keeps to himself more than ever and just gives his opinions whenever asked or whenever he feels like he should probably like, air them out. The community by far themselves is more toxic than an entire waste pool filled to the brim of every kind of toxic thing in the world. Rain, water that we purify and drink, literally iron in the water that we drink, and literal acid or volcanic acid or just straight up lava or like a hyena's like stomach acids, which hyena's stomach acids, if you don't know, can melt bone. They can melt bone and most solids, like break them down completely, turn them to liquid. Like the League of Legends community is that toxic. And the reason why I'm not letting my brother play League that much or at all is that I even told him about this. League of Legends is a community filled with people who probably will be nice to you and people who will try and hack your computer and try and force you to do whatever they want, or just to prove a point, or try and leak your information towards whoever will want to get you or hate you. That's why I told him not to play League of Legends at all if he doesn't want to. I just told him if he wants to, he can play with me. But that is the main reason why I told him he doesn't have to play League at all, and it's not worth playing League in general. When Wild Rift released, I was hoping we could play with. I was hoping I could play with him. In the very end, he took the persona the entire community has for Riot and for the League of Legends community. They're toxic. They'll probably try and DDoS you, and there are literally literal amounts of nice people or good people that actually care about the community and the people in that community too. But I've been going on for about 20 minutes now. I don't want to try and take Exiles or G-Bay's style of like airing stuff out or doing documentaries or something or whatever you would like to call this. I would say this is somewhat of like a tiny little podcast without streaming. One way or another, I want to say thank you to anyone who actually watches these videos. And to my best friend, I mean no harm and I mean no judging on this. For everyone's opinions is theirs, and I'll gladly go with them just so that just so that we both can just like be happy. Cause in the very end, I do care about the League of Legends community too, but the community itself should probably have a huge like a huge touch grass. Like they need to touch some grass. Like go outside, hold a football, touch some grass, or just lay in it, or just roll in it, or just end up like that Porter Robinson like album cover for one of his songs he released recently before he did. I'm trying to remember the like concert he did on YouTube. Whatever. He no wait, it's Virtual Self. When he did Virtual Self. Anyway, thank you everyone for actually reaching to the end. I really do appreciate you, and I would love to hear what you think of the League of Legends community and how Riot is in a double-edged sword where the community wants something, Riot tries to deliver it. Riot delivers it, but it's not what the community wants in particular, so they get backlash and hate for it. Let me know down in the comments, and if you like my video, you can subscribe, or if you don't like my video, you can dislike it. I'm not gonna stop you at all, because as much as I don't care about the whole like like Facebook canceling me or something, I don't use Facebook. I don't care about people who are trying to be mean or trying to prove their point towards someone who's actually just giving their opinion. My opinion is mine. Your opinion is yours. My opinion to people who are wanting to be mean to total strangers that they don't know, your opinion is pointless and it's useless, and I'm going to ignore you the entire day or forever. Anyway, thank you very much, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening, day, morning, afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. And I hope you stay safe. And make sure you wear a mask. Even if you get all your shots so that you're resistant to COVID, you're still a carrier. So, wear your mask.